there's a sweet spot where you have quite a bit of control over what you're doing creatively, but not 100% control of what you're doing creatively. And that's when little things happen that make magic happen. And to show this, we're going to talk about my favorite part of one of my favorite pieces that I do, Wisdom's Bubble, letter P. Take a look. So I really love the build, and I really love everything that happens in that piece. And what's going on is I am using synthesizers and vocoders and a bunch of audio effects to do something cool. And let's talk about synthesizers for a second. So if you take a look here, I have taken a relatively standard synthesizer called Operator, and it sounds like this. Okay, very simple. And if you look down here, you can see I have an envelope, which is basically the shape of the note and maybe more accurately described as articulations. And I have a bunch of, what are those called? I have a bunch of different oscillators. So A, B, C, and D. These oscillators are not necessarily working all at the same time. So you see oscillator A is set to 0 and oscillator B is set to negative infinity. So if you wanted to make oscillator B a little louder and maybe change the tuning, and if you turn oscillator B off and back on, you can hear how the synthesizer changes. And I spent a lot of time changing how synthesizers sound. And let's go talk about the different synthesizers in this tune. I have a lot, as you can see. So I have drone hits, very short staccato words. I also have longer ones. And these layer all up. They have glide and all sorts of other things. I have some guitar synthesizers. And I have some round ones. If you listen to Wisdom's Bubble, you'll hear the different uses of these synthesizers. But I wanted to focus on round drone number 4. It's just one hit. It rings for a long time. And when I'm writing instruments, I tend to not think of it this way. When I write instruments, I tend not to think of how long I want the instrument to go if it goes for a long time. But if you listen, that's a very, very long time. And I didn't mean to write it this way. But what had happened was, if you take a look down here at oscillator C, you can see I have a decay of 1.26 seconds and a release time of 20.5 seconds. That's an insane length of time. And if you listen to it, it goes on for very long. And I didn't mean to do this. This was a total accident. And when I first put together letter P, which without the horn sounds like this, you can hear that ringing. And when I put it together, I was like, wow, what is. First of all, I thought my ears were ringing, and I thought this was such a cool thing. So, in now, a couple of years after I've written this tune, I would probably definitely write this again. I've actually saved the synthesizer. I've called it Ring Synthesizer, and I will certainly be using it in the future for a long time. You can see I've added a reverb here that will be really helpful. But I just wanted to kind of show you a little bit inside of Wisdom's Bubble and pass along this ringing synthesizer. So uh, the tip in this case for creators is to kind of be open-minded as you go about doing your writing. If you're writing with synthesizers, things will happen, and it pays to be a little more exploratory and open your ears and open your mind a little bit, so when something happens like an accidental 20-second release time that you never would have programmed if you had been thinking clearly, might just be the sauce that makes one of your favorite pieces happen. So good luck.